Hello.
Hey, we're here. We're sorry a couple minutes late
Yeah,
because we were working on technical issues.
Yeah, but not ours.
No.
We were helping solve other people's.
That's right.
For once.
It wasn't us. It wasn't us. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Mayor's Update, your open forum on all things St. Thomas. It's that weird week of the month when we don't have a council meeting. So I don't have a whole lot of stuff to report from a council meeting. We had a number of events last weekend, so we'll talk about them. I guess we can talk about going forward, what's coming, right? We talked last week about the Shamrock Shuffle and a bunch of other things, so we'll repeat most of those. But look, last weekend alone, the Ontario Mixed Doubles Curling was at our curling.
Absolutely incredible.
Right, at the St. Thomas Curling Club, and I was out there both Friday and Saturday. Friday for the opening ceremonies, and then Saturday to watch some curling.
Yeah.
You know, I should never go to the curling club.
Why?
Because I watch curling, and especially the talent that was out there last weekend.
Yeah.
They're so good. And you say to yourself, well, how tough can it be? Look what he just did, right? Or what she just did.
Yeah.
Now, mixed doubles is a completely different curling to watch. It's two people on a team.
Yeah.
Right? So one is skipping each time, and the other is trying to be the sweeper, or it's funny. You watch a guy throw a rock and then be his own sweeper, right? It's really real different strategy, and really got to be in shape for this mixed doubles. Anyway, our curling club looked great in spades, and I know they're working on trying to do some great renovations out there, and we talked a bit about those while I was there, but these people just make curling look easy. So, you know, come on, Joe, you can come out to Sunday night seniors or something. Yeah, no, I can't. Wow. No, I cannot. I've tried. I'm not flexible like you. Oh, you can use a stick. Oh, yeah, that doesn't make me sound old. Anyway, a lot of fun. To Ellen Luff and the rest of the sponsors and all the people out there, we had a great time, and I got to meet some curlers from across Ontario, and they were quite impressed with St. Thomas, so as they should be, I think. But the mayor should always say that, I think. So that was great. So I couldn't go last Friday night to the opening of Opus Pretzels.
But there were a lot of councillors who were there representing the city.
I get that, and that's really happening. So Jeff Kohler, who was there, and I went today and presented a certificate, banged on the door, and caused a scene because they weren't quite open up, as we do. And she was so pleased to see us, and we're having such a good time in there. And then I went next door to visit Suzanne, Ferris next door. Yeah. And congratulated her on her nomination in the upcoming Impact Awards. I keep calling them Ignite.
The Ignite Center Impact Awards.
Right.
You know.
So then we came back out, and the community patrol officers were inside the Opus Pretzels, and they
were there the night of too, the grand opening.
Well, we thought Jeff and I had caused too great of a scene, so someone had called them on us, but no, it really was just them doing their normal in visiting the merchants in downtown St. Thomas. So amazing. It was great. It was great to get out there today too. Jeff and I don't get to have much one-on-one time with council because we have to be careful. We can't do 4 or more, or we're having an official meeting. So often we do one-offs. So Jeff and I, who are good friends, we went out and had lunch today. And then we're both friends with Cam from Cam's Heating and Cooling, Heating and Air Conditioning. And it's their 30th anniversary. Wow. They've been a going concern in St. Thomas for 30 years. Now, Cam's son, Steve, mostly runs the place now. So we stood around and talked out there with Steve. But both of us, Jeff's son, Adam, had worked at Cam's for quite a while when he was first being an apprentice. And now Ethan, my stepson, has been working there and passed his Red Seal just a couple weeks ago at Fanshawe. So trades. It's a good thing. Keep thinking about going into the trades.
Absolutely. Right? We need as many as possible.
Right. But, you know, in a community growing like us, you see businesses, and it's great to get out there. You see a group like Opus Pretzels that was operating, of course, in our community before they've gone bricks and mortar. Yep. Right. And they're saying, look at how good this is. They're so pleased with the lineup on Friday night and how it went. Or to see somebody who's been around 30 years doing home building and renovations, and certainly all of the things that go with new home building, and so it was, just kind of neat to see how our city's growing, where all can survive and all can grow in our community. That's just a couple of businesses to talk about. But what else did you have last weekend? You were
Well, I was at OPA's for the
Yes.
grand
Yep.
opening.
Yes.
Absolutely fantastic event, and I know how many people were excited about it because the post I shared got over 15,000 people looking at it.
right.
So that was just incredible to see
Right.
the amount of support there. And then, of course, I went over to Caps Off after that. The pretzels and the beer are a good
Right.
combo.
No, it's how very pretzel of you to do some beer with it. But I have to say, Monday morning at 8:00, and we do it once a month. The executive steering committee for the PowerCo project, we meet online, and so all sorts of people, including Minister Fideli and a number of other people from the Ontario government and their staff. The members from PowerCo, whether they're actually in Germany that day or in Canada that day, and Sandra and I from the city of St. Thomas are on this executive steering committee. Well, we couldn't get started this week because Opus had opened on Friday night. It was, hey, do you know what St. Thomas did? No, it wasn't that we got the land already. It wasn't that we've conveyed the land now and we're ready to start construction. No, not important in the steering meeting, but they got a pretzel place now. And so everybody who was there that hasn't been to St. Thomas now has to come to St. Thomas and visit Opus.
And there were many people from PowerCo
Oh,
that were
yes.
at the opening, which is
Yep.
just fantastic to see that amount of support for other new companies from a new company.
And they same thing with the Business After 5 last
Yes.
Wednesday night at Queso. They were all at the event and being active parts of our community. But it seems almost wherever I choose to go in downtown St. Thomas for lunch, some people from PowerCo are there. Whether it was at Boston Pizza or Plaza Sushi right, they are active parts of the contribution to our downtown success now that the PowerCo office in what was the old Marriott call center and then in the Van Pelt's building is growing with more staff from PowerCo and they're finding all the great places. Somebody was out having bubble stuff the other day.
Bubble tea.
Yeah.
Oh man, Jancat.
Yeah.
Just
not far. So
and their shortcake also fantastic. I just want to mention you're asking what I was doing.
Right. Go ahead.
And part of what I've been doing with Mike, if you've been watching the Beehive, we've mentioned it a lot of times, is we've been doing interviews with the PowerCo employees.
Oh, good.
Part of that is talking about the different places they like to go in St. Thomas, whether it's
good. So we're doing it tonight, but you're going to have a
you're going to
Beehive.
see it. So
excellent.
The next Beehive is going to be Kellen talking about different things, and that'll actually air probably, I would say, tomorrow.
Great. Excellent. Well, we're looking forward to Beehive every week, so that's great.
It's on Rogers now as well. So this show also on Rogers.
And Beehive also. No, I get it. St. Thomas has taken over on Rogers. They're doing such a good way of sharing our news in St. Thomas.
Yep.
So again, tonight we're here on Mayor's Update, open forum. Please, got any questions for us? I'm here to answer them. Grayden will help me, and
I'll field the questions.
If we can't, then please tell us.
Yeah.
Right. We'll certainly get you an answer before we do this again. Right?
Absolutely. And there was some information that was posted on the St. Thomas City Facebook page about the pollution control plant.
Yes, we're moving forward with the executive EA or the environmental assessment. St. Thomas is growing to the point where our current plant on Sunset is reaching its 65% to 75% capacity, which is at which time cities then must move forward with the environmental assessment of where will the next plant go, what size will it be, and then once you place a new plant someplace, then you got to hook the old pipes up to it, right? And then the pressure comes off the other plant, right? So Sunset will start to have more capacity again. And so we're looking at a fairly large capacity plant because these things are expensive to build. And I mean hundreds of millions of dollars to build. So when you're building one, you want to make sure you're looking to the future and seeing what's your capacity going to need, how much new housing will you have, how much new industry will you have, and what will the capacity of that plant be. The other thing that's good, I'm learning about pollution control plants, is that they're now scalable to a great degree. So you build one that's about the size you're looking for to last the next 25 years, but it has the ability to grow beyond that, doubling in size, provided you've created the land and and kind of pre-did what the scalability would have to be. So you can really have our next pollution control plant will be built with environmental assessment, making sure it's going the right place, doing the right thing, and probably be 50 to 75 years worth of lifetime for us in St. Thomas.
Incredible.
That's, you don't want to have to repeat these things very often, but forward-thinking municipalities like St. Thomas will continue to be forward-thinking on all things, including what flows downhill. I accidentally called this plant number 2 yesterday. And somebody said that's a very appropriate name for a wastewater treatment plant. It's number 2. So
absolutely.
So we're going with that.
We got a shout out from Brett. Hi, Brett. Thanks for joining us. And Janet Walker Robertson asks, do you guys ever eat at home? Lol, a joke. And
yes. However, more off times. Look, I've been in the restaurant business for 45 years or more. And so we've learned in our lives, Stephanie's getting used to this too, now being part of the restaurant business too, is that you never get to eat your meal at mealtime.
Right.
Because that's when somebody else is eating. And so we tend to do that. And I know you, Grayden, have such a busy life right now that a lot of it's on the go and it's an off time of day. And so we get to be about this time of night. We start to say, geez, it's probably time for lunch.
And Jess will be able to tell you this too, is like when I'm eating, I'm usually like standing up. I go in the kitchen and then I'm just kind of eating standing up. And she's like, you should probably just sit down.
Well, and we try to do the same thing, but right now we're in the middle of a move. And so what would be normally the dining room table is full of boxes or the next stuff to get packed. And so I go, okay, I'll stand up at the island or I'll go sit on the couch and we get through it. I saw Sean Denier say hi.
Hi, Sean. Thanks for joining us.
Great to see you. I see all the work you're getting done on the bus. That's great.
Looks incredible.
Yeah. Right.
Love the cabinets.
Yeah.
A whole set of cabinets.
You got a better set of cabinets than I have at home.
I know, right?
You got the bus ready to go. Right.
It's over at Sunset Auto on Sunset. Which is, pretty cool.
I'm watching the thunderstorms rolling through our area.
I know.
Right? Or across and all the way up to the tip of Tobermory. A pretty good storm front going through. I had pictures from Oliphant today, because not from my cameras, but from somebody else I know, of hailstones the size of dimes, that big around, right? And so I'm trying to look in all my cameras up there to see if anything's damaged, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah, no. I now know I need to point my cameras in different places, or at least get cameras that are movable, right?
Yes. Brett Longfield's asking, what is council's interest in exploring creative options for design and build of new wastewater treatment facilities, and will it strategically explore innovative opportunities in consultation with the appropriate departments?
Of course we will. And we're looking at all of the things and this summer, I think you even saw from our last budget, and the budget before, there's about $4 million worth of repair or upgrades happening at the Sunset Drive plant, even this summer. There's technology that's been invented since that plant was first built, and better ways to make it where nothing but absolutely clean water comes out of the other end of a pollution control plant or wastewater control plant. So obviously when we're looking to build a new one, we want it to be the absolute best of technologies, and every day there's something new coming up. So that was kind of the other discussion today. We're at the place where we're doing a bit of design, but mostly we're doing location and flow and those types of questions. And then as you start to get closer, then it starts to be, is this a UV? Is it some other way of filtering? What it is? And look, I don't know the answers to all of those things, but right, we have those discussions are taking place, and we've asked those questions. Is this going to be at state of the art and the best there is? Many of our other smaller communities around here can't always do the biggest plant that they need, and so sometimes look for more out of a box technology, out of a kit technology, and it works well. But we as the city of St. Thomas,
people use flushable
Oh no, yeah, it depends
Wipes.
on what goes through there. Please don't flush wipes. They are not disposable through the wastewater system, and so you get this huge blob of wipes. Anyway, but the technologies we're looking at now are exactly that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Austin Medalti says that he shared this out to the St. Thomas and News Gossip Facebook page and says there's so much info on these videos. Keep them coming. We plan on it.
Yeah. Oh, we will.
Thank you, Austin.
Right. Thank you. You and we give you permission to share mayor's update wherever you want. We think this is factual news, and not everybody's getting good factual news these days. But and even if we say something somewhat controversial, I know over the last couple of weeks we talked about the railway lands and some controversy, or roundabouts and some controversy, or even the construction. We're sitting here in the council chambers tonight, and in 304, the room behind us, there's another public meeting going on about Churchill and Third Ave's construction projects for this summer. This is the third public meeting of a large construction project that's happening, so neighbors are invited in to say, here's what will happen. First, we'll take this up. If we're going to block your driveway, it will be by the really good communication on taking large construction projects and getting them done early in the year. So lots going on in the city, lots moving forward. Sometimes I think we're rebuilding it from the ground up, and I guess we truly are, but I'm very pleased with the progress we're making. Watch the big Highbury project starting this year. And then we have the Keynes, Scott, and Curtis project, right? That's a east-west project. And then we had Dieppe and another piece that was having a public meeting 2 weeks ago when we were here, or must have been 4 weeks ago. Two.
Yeah. Feels like yesterday.
Right. Well, and tonight, another one. And so we get to meet some citizens when we're done here tonight as to what they're here seeing and hearing. But every time one of these meetings takes place, I hear them say, well, wow, that was a really open communication, really telling us what we might see. Construction's never fun on your street, folks. We all know that. It's not.
But what was really great today on my way into City Hall, I was driving on Talbot on the new road, and who else is loving it? I'm absolutely loving these smooth St. Thomas roads. They're beautiful. We've got the
as I said, we went to Opa's today. We went right. And I walked back from Opa's over to here, and just looking at, how good downtown St. Thomas looks and how Talbot Street looks. Yep, I am, and it's fun because even I said I stopped in to see Susan today, and we talked a bit about Light Up Talbot. Well, that's not till next year's Christmas tree lighting.
But she's already planning it.
Oh, is she ever? And Joe, let's do this. Let's do this. Yeah. Right. She wants a warming station at City Hall, and she wants councilors running it. And I said yes to it. So, in case councilors are watching tonight, I've committed you on tree lighting next year to be working our warming station. Right. We'll get there. It's exactly what we're looking at. I squint all the time.
So Sean Denier is saying, as being part of the process, I think the choices of the roundabout projects are great. What are your thoughts, Joe?
Well, I've always said roundabouts are a safer way for two roads to intersect. There's no T intersection anymore for there to be that damaging of an accident. In a roundabout, you of course could still run into somebody, but it would be a glancing blow and not something that could cause a lot of trouble. The other thing about roundabouts is the pedestrian crossings are at the tongues of the roundabout. You're crossing basically one lane of traffic to an island and then to another lane of traffic. So as we teach children and seniors and the rest to cross in the crosswalk section of a roundabout, it couldn't be safer. You're not trying to make your way across a very wide road all in one fell swoop. Right. So I love them. I think that the expense of them versus traffic signals are about the same, especially when we have to dig up the road anyway. In the case of some that we're doing on Highbury this year, or even the Kane Street roundabout, we've got to do the in-ground. And St. Thomas has been very good over the last 6 years of making sure if we're ripping up a road, we're putting in all new water, all new sewers, new sidewalks, bike lanes, and the like. And then if that terminates in a roundabout, that roundabout cost is about what it should be anyway. For the cost of an intersection. But far safer than stops or four-way stops, and we've talked about the warrants. So on four-way stops, I happen to have grown into roundabouts and rather like the safety elements of them. And then if you want to add the environmental element of them, and I know we've talked about that too, cars aren't idling at a stoplight and polluting. And now as we move more to EV battery vehicles, because we'll be the center of that attraction, that won't make as much of a difference, but it does make a difference while we still have a lot of internal combustion engines out there idling and driving our roads. So Joe's answer on roundabouts. Please send your comments to established media. No.
You can. I mean, I'll do what I can.
Or to mayor@stthomas.ca, and we're happy to take your comments and answer them back.
Janet Walker Robertson is saying, I need lessons on how to do this. Lol. I only know one at the police station.
Well, there is a practice roundabout there. Yeah. It's a single lane roundabout. It's not a bad one for you to practice.
And it's only 3 roads going into it too, not 4.
You're right.
It's a little bit simpler.
So it does connect that in a better way. But as they get bigger and get to be 2 lanes or 3 lanes wide, look at practice. Look to your left. If there's traffic coming, don't pull out in front of it. If there's not traffic coming, it's your turn to pull out.
Yeah.
Always pull out into the lane that's right next to you, right? From there, decide, am I going over another lane in order to go off the straight ahead or the left-hand exit? If you're going off the right-hand exit, you'd stay right in the lane you got into and go off.
Yeah, and use your blinkers. So if you're going in,
always exit your intent.
Taking the one that's right to the left, you blinker as you go in.
Right.
If you're going straight, you wait till blinker.
Wait till you get to past the one on the right. Turn your signal on, indicating you're getting off at the next exit of the roundabout, and follow your lane of traffic. And don't straddle the line. Stay in your lane. That's the easiest piece I could give you.
And again, this isn't. I should also say, check your driver's manual.
Right.
And make sure that that information I just gave you is correct.
Well, and we think it is
for the system.
But the one thing that's really that excites me or bothers me now is when we're at a T crossing.
Yeah.
And and it's 2 lanes each way, for example, and somebody makes a left-hand turn into the furthest lane, right? Always make your turns into the closest lane to you, and then signal that you're changing lanes into the next lane. It's not an automatic run on over. The one from Burwell and Talbot, and I'm always turning left onto Talbot from Burwell, and I would say better than 50% of the cars end up in the lane next to the Royal Bank.
Yeah,
and instead of into the lane they're supposed to, and then signaling their intent to get over. Right? Anyway, that's okay. You've heard Joe's.
It's dangerous.
I'm the cranky old man tonight about bad drivers. So.
We have a question in from Dale Cummings. He's saying, you are still missing bus stop signs on Talbot Street at the post office, Shoppers Drug Mart, and the Stop by Grace Cafe. You said months ago they would be replaced, but never have been.
Well, we did. There was a request on here for us to look at where the stopping spots are. Some of the ones you're mentioning there, not the one by Grace for sure, but some of them were, of course, closed during the construction of Talbot Street. I'll check into it again tomorrow to make sure. And there is times when we have removed a bus stop also, and maybe that's the case, but we'll find out why or what it is, right? There is a bus that does Talbot Street out to the mall and back, and so Talbot's a fairly busy street. We tried to make sure there wasn't more than, I forget the number, but 50 yards between stops or 75 yards between stops. But we'll check it. All right.
Next question in from Sean Denier. He says, I've been a bit busy of late working on his bus.
Yes, working on his bus.
But I'm aware of Earl Taylor stepping down. Has there been a replacement yet, as downtown will always be our important core in many ways?
Well, certainly, Earl is irreplaceable, and we all know that. The work Earl has given to the downtown in St. Thomas over the last number of years is over the top.
Yeah.
It's a lot like the choice I'm trying to have right now in the replacing of Sandra Day-Despair as my city manager. right?
Yeah.
But I expect that in the interim, Earl will kind of phase. He's not like up
Well,
and
yeah, he's not
leaving.
just going to go.
Right.
He's going to help transition the new
Right.
people in.
Well, and we currently have like as good a vice chair of the downtown development board as we
Oh,
could possibly have,
easy.
named Grayden. But we're all here to help him
Yeah.
on the transition. But we are really taking a hard look over all of 2024 of what that means. What will post Earl downtown DDB look like?
Yeah, it won't be
Right?
the same, but we want to make sure that we carry
No, we do
the
the
same
same,
momentum forward in terms of we've had such a great trajectory
Right.
that we want to continue that momentum forward, and the whole DDB is working on doing that.
Right.
So to answer your question, it's in process. We're
Yep.
working on it, and
Yep. And Dale says, thanks, Joe, but the buses stop where he tells them to anyway. And so, great, thank you. That's the right solution. If you know there's supposed to be a bus stop there, I'm sure a bus will stop for you if you are standing there waiting. And certainly, if that's where you wanted to get off, say, I want to get off here. But let's get all the signage up that we need to do too. We'll do that. Thanks, Dale, for bringing that to our attention.
Mm-hmm. And Sean says that would be a favorable choice indeed.
Yes, Grayden is, this is a railway community, so you've been railroaded into being the chair for now.
We'll see.
So,
We'll see.
Yeah.
And there's a railway meeting going on tonight as well.
Oh, is that tonight too? Yes,
tonight
yes.
too,
And
yeah.
I know our Heritage Committee was meeting about some of the things we're working on.
Mhm.
As I said, we're going to touch this whole thing on the railway lands probably 10 more times at council. But it also means that around the city on different nights, other groups will be meeting about what their thoughts are on it. Obviously, the railway group and Doug Terry have to come to a conclusion on what that means, so that we can move forward.
Mhm.
That doesn't happen, then there probably isn't much going on. And so we'll just watch for all the different meetings, all the different things, and bring it back to council and say, was that a good next step? Was that a good next step? Is that meeting the criteria we set for the use of the railway lands by whether it's parks or roads? So.
Yeah. And to follow on that, one of the things we were talking about earlier was getting involved and staying on top of the different things. Because I know I see a lot of posts where people are shocked when things are announced.
Right.
But these things have been in the works for years. And so I would remind, I know all of you that are watching, you're all engaged and you know, but maybe just remind your neighbors to stay engaged, watch what's happening on council, what people are talking about, what things are happening, and stay involved in volunteering as well. Because if you're not volunteering and staying involved, then things will disappear in our community.
Absolutely.
Or things will happen.
Well, we've talked about many of those types of things, whether it's, and we like to talk about Fantasy of Lights as one of those things. It was a great thing that our community had long before my time on council, but it's a great thing we had. But the same people every year put in hours and hours and hours of volunteer time to make this work, and then said, okay, if by next year there isn't somebody to replace me, I'm not doing this anymore, right?
Yeah.
And now we hear, well, why did that stop? Why didn't that keep going? Well, because when you were asked to come volunteer, you didn't do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the message didn't get out there well enough that volunteers were critically needed, or the project would stop.
Yeah.
So we want to work on something like the railway lands in our downtown. We need your input. We need you to tell us, and we need you to tell the other groups involved. Right now, that whole area in front of the Railway Museum is owned by the Railway Museum. Mm-hmm. They have been having these conversations about selling that land so that money could go back into fixing up the Railway Museum. You have to say, do I want that? Well, if you don't want that, fine, then you're not involved. If you do want that, then something has to give in order for that money to come up to fix a very important building in our community. So we'll keep doing it.
Mm-hmm. And Sean says, that is something I shared when running for council, public getting more in the know of what is going on.
Right.
It is truly up to them because the door is always open with the council.
Well, and you're right, Grayden. We still hear from people who say, you didn't tell me that was going on. Why didn't council tell us? Mm-hmm. Well, you can watch council every Monday night. It's not long or tedious, and sometimes it's even funny. So you can even watch that. You can watch it on Rogers if you have Rogers cable. It also is on there. But you can come on here on Tuesday night at
Any
6:30.
question? Open forum.
Well,
Here we are.
And if it's the night after council, we go over the agenda of the council and what we're doing. I'm sorry if we're not, we're certainly sharing enough information. If you're not getting it, you're not looking for it. Might be the easiest way to say it. If you can find a better way, and look at Ian McCollum sits right in this chair every Monday night, and over the next week from My FM's news and his own blog on Saturday, so much of what happens at council is out there for you to see, whether it's on Facebook or on
City
radio.
Scope.
Right, City Scope and his Saturday blog and news every day at My FM. Look, I'll be the first to admit, we don't have as much newspaper coverage in St. Thomas as we used to, but I bet there isn't a week that goes by that I don't do at least 2 interviews with the London Free Press now.
Yeah.
So we're getting, the news is out there, folks, and I get my London Free Press online. I don't
Or
get a paper
CBC.
copy.
You're
or
on
CBC all the
other
time.
week.
Yeah. Right. So look, the answers are out there, but I get it. If you haven't heard about it, we still need to do better at sharing it. But Grayden and I are doing our piece. For over 4 years now, we've been doing Mayor's Update,
which is in
open forum. Please ask. And by the time we get to next Tuesday, Grayden, how many people will have watched Mayor's Update?
1,000 to 2,000.
Right. So it's more well read than any copy of the Times Journal or right. So let's get it.
Yeah.
Look, and
Here's
where you can ask questions about what do you think, right? Or I don't like what you're thinking, Joe. Fine, we've got thick skin. We'll say, yeah, great, way to go, right? Talk to us. But if you're not here to hear it, it isn't real. This is your place for the goings on of the city of St. Thomas. Certainly, from a government point of view, it's a great place to do it. So, well, I talked a little bit earlier about the replacement of our city manager.
Yes.
Well, first of all, I think I've already shared lots that she will be fantastic for the City of London. The City of London will be fantastic for her.
Yeah.
Right. But I want to tell you how the resumes are flowing in on that process, and it's huge. St. Thomas seems to be in a great spot right now for people to want to come here and be a part of what we've got going on and the excitement we have going on in St. Thomas. So we said it about OPAs. We said it about other businesses downtown. They're excited to be part of this vibrant community, as are many industries, including a very large one up on Highbury North, right? But many others are expanding or growing. We talked about Element 5 and how they've changed their expansion plans. It's an exciting time in St. Thomas's. And if I want you to know. So, I mean, we can't go knock on 25,000 houses every week and say, hey, do you know what happened this week? We just can't. So here's your chance to knock on your TV, your computer screen and get the answers.
Yeah. Right? And I also want to say thanks to everyone who is viewing.
Yes,
because
please.
now established media, we're reaching, around over 100,000 people.
Right.
Which is just incredible.
I have other mayors who say to me, no. I said, yeah, we do Mayor's Update every Tuesday night at 6:30 till 7. We do it. And people can ask questions. It's not a live question piece, but it works, right? I mean, it's a live question piece, but it's not phone lines.
It's not phone lines. We've talked about getting some phone lines.
Yeah, we did.
I want to implement the phone line system.
Okay.
It's just a matter of me, right.
No, there's a whole technology base around that too. But as Sean said, there's more opportunity than ever in St. Thomas to find out the news you want to know. If you want to know, there's something. And I will tell you that sitting with the 5 old guys at McDonald's or Tim Hortons in the morning getting your news is probably not healthy. I love them all, right? But there's 5 opinions there that don't match what was in the news last night.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So
totally.
We're asking you to come right to the source. The mayor's here, and we'll be happy to be as transparent as we can possibly be.
But I wanted to say thank you to everybody that's watching,
please.
Because that's like you're our ambassadors in the community to get the word out. So we're reaching as many people as possible.
Yep.
Basically, everyone in Elgin County and St. Thomas that has Facebook has seen something,
right?
Which is pretty incredible. So thank you.
Yeah.
And we're way over
Well,
time.
if we could just get St. Thomas Happenings to replay the mayor's update every night.
Every
that would
night.
be great. Yeah.
But thank you so much, guys. We're over time, so some of this is going to get cut down. But if you're here watching it live, you've seen the whole show.
Thank you. Tell your friends. Go look it up. Every show we've ever done is on established media still.
Yeah, we're still
you can
there.
Go back and look 3.5 years ago and say, wait, Joe said, or she's still wearing that sweater? Yeah,
it's all there.
Yeah, it is. Thanks.
Hey, take care, everyone. It's great chatting with you.